Introductions.
Yes. Hello, everyone. This is Sephardic World, brought to you by the Sephardic Genealogical Society. David and I want to express our heartfelt thanks to our patrons who are here with us, whose continued support helps us to continue this series. We welcome them here on Zoom, and we welcome our viewers on YouTube. Today's subject is the Portuguese Nationality Law. We discussed it before. Last time was nearly a year ago. The Portuguese Nationality Law offering citizenship to people of Sephardic ancestry has been in the news, sometimes in a positive and sometimes in a negative way. The law itself was also discussed recently in the Portuguese Parliament, and we feared that that would have been the end of it. Several amendments were proposed, but President Marcelo Rebelo de Sousa of Portugal vetoed the new proposed law. Only last week, on February the 24th, has the President approved changes to the law made by the country's parliament, and this meeting will review the changes and consequences. Unfortunately, our main speaker, Isabel Comte.
Yeah, no, she's with us. She's with us.
No, she's here.
Here. Good night.
Hi there. We
Isabel.
are so relieved.
Good night. Sorry for the delay. I was trying to connect myself. Hi, Teresa.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Hi.
I
We're
promised
here.
you, so I'm here. Don't worry.
Oh, we are very relieved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Isabel is a
Yes.
jurist at the Lisbon law firm of Martins Castro. She graduated at the University of Coimbra and did a postgraduate study in Lisbon. And she is the author of the book Nationality Law, Annotated and Commented. So she knows her stuff. We are joined by our colleague Teresa Santos, who is traveling at this very moment, and hence she is on her iPhone, yes, right now. And she is a specialist in Jewish studies. She also worked at the Comunidade Israelita de Lisboa in the past, and she coordinates the genealogy team at Martins Castro. Welcome to both, and our main speaker will be Isabel Comte. Thank you for being with us, and you can speak now.
Okay, good night all. Thank you for inviting me to participate in that meeting. So tonight, I would like to explain you better what is happening and what are the consequences about all what happened in the past, recent past, about the nationality law in Portugal, just to situate the situation and to say and to see what are the different situation of several persons, and it depends on the date you submitted your Portuguese your application for nationality, Portuguese nationality. So right now, persons are a little bit confused because they are always changing the laws, and we have several persons who are already submitted their application, and they are asking, okay, what is going to happen to my application? So the first I wanted to explain is that all the persons who submitted their application before the 1st September of 2022, so before at least until the 31 of August of 2022, there is no problem at all with their application. Why? Because the day they submitted their application for Portuguese nationality, the only thing they had to prove it was that they had the Sephardic ancestry. It was all. It was the only thing that they should prove. So all the person who applied until the 31 of August of 2022, because of those amendments that happened recently, they don't have to worry at all. because their application will be seen by the Conservatória with the application of the old rules. Because in nationality, one of the most important rules is that your application will be analyzed with the rules that were enforced the day you applied. So it's one main of rules of nationality, okay? Because as we have so many changes, people's, and it's usually the case, people are very afraid of, as I already submitted, what are the rules who are going to apply to me? No, in nationality, one of the most important rule is that your application will be analyzed by the rule that were enforced the day you applied for it. So everyone who applied for Portuguese nationality until the 31 of August of 2022 don't have to worry about anything, okay? So all the people who applied for Portuguese nationality after the 1st September of 2022 and who already applied for and who already have their application in the Conservatória, right now they don't have to worry either. I see that someone wants to speak. I don't know if maybe you have a question.
Yes, sorry, I don't mean to jump the gun. A quick question. I've had my Portuguese citizenship for several years now. In
Yes.
fact, I'm coming up on the first renewal. Is there any chance that once you've received Portuguese citizenship that you could have it rescinded when you try to renew?
Renew what? And once you have the Portuguese nationality, one of the most important rule also of the Portuguese nationality is that once you have the nationality, no one can revoke it without a strong cause. The only way to revoke a Portuguese nationality of someone, it's when you find that that person got it in a wrong way. For example, you have someone gets the Portuguese nationality, and after some years, we are going to see that in the file that there were something that were wrong with, for example, forgery papers or something else that at the time, if the Portuguese state would know about that person, certainly he or she didn't have got it. That's the only way, because Portugal has applied to the Convention of the Human Rights, and one of the rules of the Convention of the Human Rights is that you can have your nationality revoke it without something strong. So you are not renewing your nationality. You are renewing your papers, maybe your passport or your citizen card. That's not the same. In Portugal, we don't have such thing that's renewing nationality. No,
Thank
it
you.
doesn't exist. Okay, so don't be afraid. It's just a matter to renew papers, as it happens in several countries, because when you have a paper, you are about maybe 30 years old. When you are 40, you must have someone else because you are going to have a new photo, because all the identifying papers must have your photos and your biographic and digital data, and they are not, you will not have the same face. There are other things that will be stand the same, like fingerprints.
Yes.
And
Thank you so much.
Okay, so don't be worried about it. So
Thank you. Can we hold the questions to the end? Otherwise, we'll not get through.
okay, so I was speaking that all the person who applied for Portuguese nationality until the 31 of August of 2022 don't have to worry about anything. So I was speaking about the persons who applied for Portuguese nationality after the 1st September of 2022. As you know, at that time, we had an article of the regulation of the Portuguese Nationality Law who get enforced. And that article was demanding two more requirements. They were saying that if you want to apply for Portuguese nationality because you are a descendant from Sephardic Jew, you should prove that you had traveled to Portugal several times during your life, or to prove that you have inheritance some real estate or some participation in Portuguese companies. So we know that last year, someone who had applied to Portuguese nationality after the 1st September were asked for the Conservatória to bring those proofs. And that person went to the court to say, no, I will not get those proofs because that article is unconstitutional. Why? Because the regulation of the Portuguese law nationality is something that can only amend by the government. But when we are speaking about new requirements to know who is going to get the Portuguese nationality, those requirements must be in the law, in the Portuguese law nationality, and not in the regulation. Why? Because the regulation is only to say which are the documents you must bring to apply, and what are all the phases of the procedure to have the Portuguese nationality. It doesn't speak about requirements. The requirements must be in the law. And when the government made that, it made something wrong, because to have more requirements, you must do that in the parliament, because the parliament is the only who can amend the Portuguese nationality law. And that person win. And the court says that the Article 24A with the new amendment of 2022 is unconstitutional. So all the person who already applied for Portuguese nationality after the 1st September of 2022 don't have to worry about anything at all. Here in Martins Castro, what we did, just to be ensured that we don't have any kind of problem, we submitted all the application for Portuguese nationality, asking for our clients just to prove one kind of proof. Because in my understanding, when you must prove that you have some connection or some bonds with our community, you can do it in several ways, and not only the ways that are in the regulation, as traveling or having some kind of real estate by inheritance. As we know, how can those peoples have anything by inheritance? Because at the time they didn't have any kinds of real estate, because they were exposed and they took all their real estate. They didn't have any kind of house. As someone said, they only have the keys. So it's not, it is not possible to have any kind of an inheritance right now for those persons. So the only thing we thought in Martins Castro is that there are several ways to prove your connection with Portugal, and not only having a real estate and travel, because in my understanding, it's even a discrimination, because we know that having a real estate or traveling to Portugal, even for some people who are living in countries that are very far away from Portugal, you must have a lot of money to buy something here, or even to travel. You can't say that someone can have a Portuguese nationality just because of his or her financial condition. It's a discrimination, even because that law was made to repair something wrong that happened in the past. So right now they are demanding something more severe, that travel or real estate is even discrimination, because we don't know. You can't say only rich people or those who have money to buy a real estate or to travel only can have it. It's not right. So there's so many other ways to prove that you have a Portuguese connection. Maybe by your relatives, certainly, as how we see with the lady who asked me something. She's a Portuguese a long time ago. Maybe she has a lot of relatives that are Portuguese already. We have other kinds of proving your bonds, even if you have Portuguese friends, if you are interested in the Portuguese culture because you are in a Portuguese association. So there's a lot of ways to prove that you have a connection with us without spending money. So because we have other articles in the Portuguese law that ask also for bonds with Portugal, and they are not asking for travel or having real estates. For example, when you want the Portugal nationality because you are married with a Portuguese citizen, you have to prove your connection with us because you have children that are already Portuguese, or because your marriage lasts more than 6 years, or other things like that. That doesn't need to prove that you have money, okay? So, resuming, all in Martins Castro, all the persons who applied for Portuguese nationality after the 1st September of 2022, they don't have to worry either, because we made everything to submit those requirements with at least one proof of the Portuguese connection with us. And even if they are asking after for more, we are going to do the same as the other person did. We are going to court and to say, no, we are not going to send any more proof, because that 24A of the regulation is unconstitutional. So what happened in the past 5th January? We have that the Parliament approved an amendment, a new amendment to the Portuguese Nationality Law. And so in that amendment, we have two things. The first, it's a transitory article that said that until the law, that amendment will get enforced, all the people who want the Portuguese nationality because they are descendant of Portuguese Sephardic Jew must prove they made a copy paste, must prove the traveled, must prove that they have real estate inheritance, and can prove also if they have 1 year of residency permit here in Portugal. Those requirements are optional, okay? You don't have to prove all of them. They are optional. So you are saying to me, okay, but when the amendment will be published and will get enforced, what that means? It means that in Portugal, when you have some new rules to get the Portuguese nationality, it's mandatory to amend the Portuguese regulation, okay? So what will have when the Portuguese nationality, that amendment will be published? First, the transitory rule will be enforced already, right away, okay? And the rule that said that you must have 3 years of residency permit here in Portugal to get the Portuguese nationality will only get enforced when the regulation will be amended. So until the regulation will not be amended, we will have that transitory rule. And that transitory rule what is the article of the regulamentation will going to say how you do that. It will be the 24A with the amendment of 2022. And as we know, that article is unconstitutional. So all the requirements for Portuguese nationality that will be submitted after the law will be published and will get enforced, it will be exactly the same of those who were submitted after the 1st September. Okay, so it means that it's still possible to have the Portuguese nationality as we have that today. The only thing I just want to explain is that you must do that as soon as possible. Why? Because the day that they are going to amend again the regulamentation of the Portuguese Nationality Law, and the day that those amendments to the regulamentation will be enforced, at that time, it will be mandatory to prove two things: Sephardic ancestry and a residency permit at least at 3 years here in Portugal. In my understanding, I think it will happen between 6 months or 1 year. But even that, I can't say rightly. Why? Because the last time they amend the Portuguese nationality law, they took 2 years, I say it again, 2 years to amend the regulamentation. So the requirements of the 3 years of residency only will get enforced the day they are going to amend again the Portuguese regulamentation of nationality law. So right now, I think we still have time, and it's still possible to apply for Portuguese nationality. And after that, it will be possible too, but you are going to have a requirement that will be more severe, because to prove 3 years of Portuguese residency will be not possible for several people, because they are not living here. So I would like to answer some questions and maybe to clarify that things. I see in the chat that we have already some question. I don't know if I can answer. So I have a question from Serena. Yes. About her daughter got a citizenship, and she applied for her minor children in 4 September 2022. They asked for connection. They had to send proof I was there. I am citizen also. So just to say to you that those amendments to get the Portuguese nationality to descendant of Sephardic Jew, they are not amending the rules to get the Portuguese citizenship for minors and for spouses. The only thing that we have to minor children and for spouses is that you have to prove also the connection with the Portuguese community. And for minors children, in Martins Castro, we know exactly what to do. You don't have to send any documents, but you must do something else. Because if your daughter applied for her daughter, and if they are asking for connection, it will be so much important if both parents are Portuguese. That's something that the Conservatória is going to see, and they are going to see also if the child have more parents that are already Portuguese citizen. So that's a kind of way to prove the Portuguese the bonds with us in a different way. So right now we are doing a lot of nationality for spouses and for minors. and I'm in front of
What
that.
about adult children?
Sorry?
What about adult children?
The adult children must apply as their parents. So because the Portuguese nationality, by this Article 6.7, so by proving that you have Sephardic ancestry, it's for all the people that are above 18. So if you have someone who already turned 18, he must apply like the parents.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I have several clients who their children turned 18. They were minor when they applied, and they had to wait so long to get their citizenship, and then their minor children turned 18, and now they can't apply.
Okay, but
So,
in Martins
so like they fell into a loop. You know what I'm saying? They fell into like a hole.
Okay, but in Martins Castro, we had several cases like this. And what we did, I arranged a way to apply for Portuguese nationality for the children of those clients before they turn 18.
But the
Thank
parents
you.
hadn't been citizenships yet.
Yes, but I know how to do that.
Okay.
So
Okay.
those clients were protected. So that's something I was making, because at the day we had made the contract, that's something that I'll always ask. It's if they have any kind of, if they have children, and what are they when they were born, just to see what I'm going to do. Okay.
Thank you. Sorry, before we go to Keaton, I've been given some sort of questions to ask. First one is that there's going to be an election in Portugal in 3 weeks' time. Some people believe there will be a change of government.
Sorry, next week it will be.
I do beg your pardon, next week. If there is a change of government, how might that affect the situation?
So it might affect the that situation if the leader of the party of the opposition wins the elections. Why? Because if it is not the party that right now in the government wins, they are not going to make an amendment to the argumentation of something they didn't approve, even because the party of the opposition that wants to win the elections were against those amendments. So it will be so important for us, that all the people who works with nationality, that the party of the opposition could win those elections. So if they win, there will be a different way to see the things, because in the parliament they voted against. They didn't approve that amendment to the articles, to that way to get Portuguese nationality for descendants of Sephardic Jew. So it would be something very important. We will see, because election will be next week, and we are going to see what happened. It would be so important to get it. So we are going to see that.
Thank you. Another question is, a number of people have reported issues with SIL, the Jewish community of Lisbon. And I don't know what you know about that. If I can give you 3 examples, one of which is actually my own second cousin who submitted essentially the same information as I did, but has problems. Another is a member of one of the most famous, well, probably the most famous Sephardic, historically Portuguese Sephardic family in the United States, who carries that name, but because an American city got burnt to the ground during the American Civil War with the records in that city, whilst there is secondary evidence, there isn't, I think, a birth certificate, and they're making problems for that person, even though there's no question of the Sephardic ancestry. A third one is somebody whose family was in Egypt. And of course, the Egyptian government has confiscated all of the documents. It is undoubted that the family came from the Sephardic community of Izmir, and also his grandmother had a Ladino first name. They don't have problems with that. We got a letter from somebody actually in this meeting who is a former Israeli ambassador to Egypt, who is a published expert on Sephardic names, and that has not been accepted. And these sorts of things, I think, 2 years ago, they definitely would have been accepted. So do you have any idea what's happening at SIL? Because something has changed there.
So I don't know what is happening, in fact, in the Sephardic, the Jewish community of Lisbon. Maybe Teresa should be the best person to say that. But I know what I'm doing as a lawyer. Right now, for example, if I have someone who already was certified and is or her has a member of his or her family that is refusing, because we have several cases, like your cousins, for example. He had the same study that you have. He had only to prove the rest, and because he is your cousin. In those cases, I'm even going to court. Because if someone were accepted with the same genealogy, why now they are doing the way around?
Yes.
So we are applying for them. And right now, that's what I'm doing. I give them 10 days to do what I want. And if after the 10 days they don't do it, I'm going to court.
Okay, I think that might be a bit expensive for my cousin, but we shall see. One last question. You said at the very beginning that people can have their citizenship revoked if something bad has happened. Obviously, there was a situation at the Porto community, let us say, and let us say that perhaps people of non-Proven Sephardic ancestry have received citizenship through that congregation. I mean, are those people safe, or what's happening there?
I'm going to say to you that I'm not going to say the name of that person, but I can assure you that the nationality of that person were not revoked, because to revoke a nationality, you must have strong proof.
No. I don't mind saying it. We're not talking about Abramovich. We're talking about tens of thousands of other people.
All the others people, if they are aware that they had anything wrong, they are safe, of course. But even the SIP is already certifying again. So they have no way they don't have any kind of way to stop them, because it was not proved that they did anything wrong. Okay?
That seems very unjust, because a lot of us who were sending, persuading people, suggesting people go to SIL because they were properly reviewing documents, whereas people who went through Porto, I know cases, or a case of somebody who got certification the same day. And to my certain knowledge, there are people of almost certainly no Sephardic ancestry who've received citizenship through SIP. I mean, some is in the public domain.
But right now they are certifying again, and when they started to do that again, they said that the old requirements for the certificate will be the first to be analyzed, but right now they are working normally.
Okay, thank you. So sorry, Keaton. Do you want to unmute?
Hi, yes, thank you, David, and thank you, Isabel, for being here. Really, really great. My question is, if I were to come to your office today and say I have Sephardic ancestry from Portugal, what do I need to bring you to get the entire, like what documents do I provide? What's the process overall?
So first of all, you will have to bring us your birth certificate, the birth certificate of your parents or the marriage certificate, and you must bring also all the birth certificate until your for your grandfathers and great-grandfathers. So the line that you know that you are a descendant of Sephardic Jew, you must see if it is by your father or mother. And after that, you must bring us the birth certificate until your the grandparents and the great-grandparents. For us, it's enough. After that, we have the team or a genealogical team who is going to see what is your ancestry. And after that, we are going to see if it is better for you to go to SIP or to SEAL.
What are these? What is SIB and SEAL? What is the entire name?
So the SEAL, it's the community, the Israeli community of Lisbon, and the other one is the Israeli community of Porto. The Israeli community of Porto is issuing the certificates quicker than SEAL, than the Jewish community of Lisbon. The Jewish community of Lisbon, they are very tough. They are not seeing if you have anyone else who is already certified. So they are working very bad. But unfortunately, depending on your case, it might be the better way to go to Lisbon or Porto. It depends, because each one of the Jewish community are seeing things differently. And so it will be the team of the genealogical studies that are going to say, okay, in that case, it's better to ask for the certificate to Porto, or it will be better to ask it to the SEAL. One thing is for sure, if you want to apply for Portuguese nationality, we don't have to wait for your certificate of the Jewish community, because the law says that we can apply with just only your genealogical study, and we can send after that your certificate. So if you must go to SEAL and as we know, SEAL takes a lot of time to issue the certificate, we can submit the requirements without the certificate, but with all the documentation to prove that you are a descendant from Sephardic Jew, and we will send after the certificate. Because as I said at first, the most important is to apply near the registry office before the amendments to the regulation of the Portuguese Nationality Law get enforced. So the most important is to apply before that requirements of the 3 years of a residency card get enforced. That's the most important.
And what kind of a budget should I look at? Like to start and then gradually, how much is this? What's a range?
So I'm from the legal department. If you want, you can contact us. We will see your situation, and the commercial department will say to you what is the budget to do that. It depends also if you already have some relatives that already been certified or not. Okay, because if you already have a study that can help you, like someone said, he has a cousin, that cousin could took a part of his study to ask for his certificate. Or maybe, for example, if I have a brother, if I'm going to apply, I'm going to get the study of my brother, because I only have to prove that they're the daughter of the same parents. So it depends on several things. But if you want to have some information, I can put here the way to contact us. You can go to our site, and we have that chat that you can have if you are going to our site, Martins Castro. We have a site and we have a chat and you can ask in that chat for your question. And we even have some formulas that you can fill in, and they are going to our genealogist, and they are going to analyze it, and we will get in touch with you. Okay.
I have census records from my great-grandparents. Last question. I have census records from my great-grandparents, but not their birth records. Is that enough to get the ball rolling, or
the ideal is to get it's to have birth certificates, but if you don't have, you will bring what you have, and the genealogical team will see what they can do. Okay.
Thank you.
So they have several questions. I don't know if you are going to, if I can answer them, or if you are going to read them so I can answer to people.
I would like to say something.
Okay.
Because David brought that question, and also Sarina. Well, we have to remember that CIL is accepting a range, like a larger universe of Sephardic descendants profiles. This means as people that were converted and unconverted. So they can get processes with 30, 40 pages, with 15 generations, and even more. And also, we need to understand that while Porto was shut it down, let's say, they were receiving all the demands, all the applications. So it's true that they are taking longer, but it is a result of the whole situation, of the whole context, and of course I understand that they, with all these problems and suspicions, they thought maybe they start to be even more demanding, but that's it. They are, and I understand that probably the team of historians is bigger and bigger, getting bigger and bigger. So we have to consider those two aspects: the kind of profiles that they accept to be applying, and also that while Porto was shut down, they were still working and accepting all the applications. Okay.
I'm
That's it.
not necessarily sure that's fair, because we have another question here. I received my letter from SIL and put in my application for nationality before the deadline. My problem with SIL is that it is asking for information from my brother and children who have the same genealogy as me, and the brother and children haven't been able to get the certification from SIL, which is the same example I gave with my second cousin. And this seems to be such an easy thing for them to do, and so it's unclear why it's all going backwards and forwards.
Yeah, no, I understand the following. Also, sometimes people are not mentioning that they already have people certificated, or that they are connected with other applicants, and probably that's why. And even if one has already a relative that was certificated, they attend the people, they analyze processes in a chronological time queue, right, in order of their entrance. And also I just lost my thoughts, but that's it. Sometimes they are not understanding the connection between people, and also I wanted to say that we have the knowledge, this understanding, I would say better, if a relative had already gotten the certificate, I would, for me, it's
Sorry, I think you're freezing. I think she froze.
for CIL certificate, as Isabel. Oh, sorry. Do I?
Sorry,
It is frozen?
you froze. You froze.
Ah, sorry. No, I was. What was the last part that?
You were explaining the issues with people whose relatives have already received
Them.
certification.
Yeah, in our understanding, these people, if perhaps CIL raises questions about relatives of already certificated members of the family, they can do an appeal, and they can, of course, they should say to CIL, look, this is my brother or my cousin, with whom I have the same common ancestor, so it doesn't make sense. And also at the same time, I would recommend for people to go in the same way to the Conservatória, okay?
Yes.
And I think it's worth to try to go to the Conservatória even with the certificate of a family member. Understand?
Okay. Yes. Yes. But what would you suggest in situations where I mean Egypt is the classic example where most of the documents are just unavailable, where there is expert opinion that these families are Sephardic. In fact, reality is they can be nothing else, and yet SEAL is demanding documents that don't exist. It seems, and I perhaps we can question the expertise of some of the experts there, because I've seen, well, I suppose one can accept that they can't, well, maybe one can accept a synagogue can't read a ketubah. But I mean, I've heard some very bizarre things. I mean, somebody who submitted a document from the Inquisition was asked to submit a more clearly written one. Yeah, so
No.
but what happens when somebody has an expert opinion and they're still not being listened to by perhaps people who are not experts on that subject?
Well, actually, Martins Castro is sometimes when we understand that they are not doing a proper question or being helpful and be clear about their requests, we are writing them and explaining sometimes even what is a genealogical methodological terms that could be accepted. And we understand, of course, that if they in the rules ask for translated documents, and we know that to read paleography is not for everyone, and really demands years and years of actually reading. And even though you can always find a really difficult letter, but of course they in their rules they ask for everything to be translated and all the paleography to be transliterated. I don't know if it's the right word in English, but about the Egyptian case, actually the cases that I have done in the past and saw, people normally had enough documents to show that they were connected to the Jewish communities in Egypt. But I have done a few research searching documents to get a better and more dense study, and I could find a few, but I don't have much experience doing genealogical studies for people that were established in Egypt, but of course I think, and I guess even CIL, in their defense, I guess they will ask more documents until they get comfortable to give the certificates. So even if the first request doesn't really make us much sense, we can always be communicating with them to demand also explanations, and to, of course, communicating is essential to understand, and even with conversation, the people can get more tips to understand the kind of documents, and also to guide us in the research that we may do, that we need to do. But of course there are, I am out of CIL almost 3 years ago. I understand that a lot has changed. Of course, they had to deal with all this political instability and suspicions and accusations with Porto Rabbi, and of course probably that's why they are probably in a more defensive field, in position.
Okay, but no, well, okay, thank you. But I mean, I suppose a question more for Isabel is, isn't it strange that one has to provide an enormous amount of detail to SIL, whereas SIP would not recognize the Sephardic Jew if they fell, if it fell on their heads? I mean, this is not an equal way of operation. It just seems a mess.
I
No,
think
let me.
yes, it's the way that Teresa said. They have a different interpretation of to issue the certificate.
Well, that's the polite way of putting it. I don't have to be polite. I mean, SIP, first of all, are operating according to halakha, which is presumably non-compliant with the Portuguese constitution, where you have to treat everyone equal on terms of religion. And secondly, I mean, they've given citizenship to so many sort of Ashkenazi and Iraqi and other Jews who clearly have no apparent Sephardic ancestry, that it just seems unfair when we have people of authentic Sephardic ancestry who are just being treated very badly, and people who have no legitimate right to Portuguese citizenship are getting it easily.
But one of the things that is maybe the only thing I think it's positive with that amendment to the Portuguese law nationality is the fact that they are saying that it will be they will have a commission that will have several persons, professors of history and genealogical persons, and of course, some members of the Jewish community of Porto and Lisbon. And I think that with that commission, it will be more easier to have to don't have that kind of things saying that, well, okay, Porto, they want that, in Lisbon, they want this. So maybe that commission will do the things the same way to everybody. It will be something positive in that amendment.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, does anyone want to ask questions.
Bernard Miller has his hand up.
I have one question. Tom, one evening about 2 years ago, got on the case of our family name because Na is not that common, and he got us back to about 1600. We can easily do the stuff in the UK because we've always been members of Bevis Marks, so it's all there. And of course, in the UK, I can get birth certificates back to 1850 probably through the system. Would that be enough to start the ball rolling?
So I think it's maybe Teresa is more accurate to answer that question, but I think so because our genealogical team will go to find the others because they have things to do that. Even Teresa went to an event to have more tools so we can make our research in a way more efficient, and because we have several tools even in internet to search those things, and so yes, I think until the 18 it will be enough.
Because I mean, I doubt we can go back to 1492. That would be a stretch.
Don't worry. Our genealogical team will guide you, and we're going to ask you what they need, and the other things they are doing themselves. That's why in Martins Castro we have both aspects, because you have a lots of law firms that only have the question to submit the application in the registrar office. Our law firm is more complete because we have a legal department, okay, but we also have a genealogical department. So it's something that the person who's come to our office knows that they can be sure that we are going to do everything at the same time. And it's, of course, I think it's something better for the person who doesn't have to worry about anything, okay?
But as you said, is it still you that I would send my documentation to for a quotation?
Okay, you can do that. Just contact us. I saw also that someone said that a few months ago she tried to send us an application, but someone tell her that we are not accepting the application. No, it's not true. We are a law firm. Of course, we are not refusing anything.
All contributions gratefully received.
But we are serious, okay? I used to work for the Department of Justice in Portugal. I left it 2 years ago, and of course we are here to do the things the right way, okay? So of course it depends on your case. There are cases also when someone say, okay, I want my Portuguese citizenship because I'm a descendant from Sephardic Jew. Of course, in some ways, sometimes our genealogical team says, oh no, that person doesn't have, is not a descendant from Sephardic Jew, or we are not able to see that proof, of course. Because in our office, we are not going things when we see it's not possible, okay? So we want to do the things the right way, and we are not here to say to the person, okay, it's okay, when we know it's not, okay? So you just have to try and to see.
Yeah, Isabel, let me add that before closing the service with the client, we always do a pre-analysis. And of course, in this pre-analysis is a fast way to understand if the client has potential, okay? Because of course, we cannot be doing research through a ton of generations without having a contract signed, okay? So, but of course, in this pre-analysis, maybe that sometimes we cannot say it's possible, or of course we only can say, look, we don't see any evidences, and if we even if we cannot see them firsthand, we can always be talking with the person to bring us more information, to tell her story, her family history, because sometimes in the details we understand that it's possible, and it's just a matter of going to look for documents. Of course, there are countries who are not easy, and we can have documents, and we cannot get to the Sephardic ancestors of some people. But of course, in the case of your family, I think it was Keaton talking. I don't know the name. Sorry, that was in Beavis Marks. That's a clear case of Sephardic. I don't know if there are Ashkenazis. Of course, nothing is linear, and people join
All
synagogues sometimes because they are more. Yeah. So, so
Not a
yeah,
problem.
I wouldn't be worried
Yeah.
with a case, and of course, David is the best person to do the whole
Well, the
study
UK bit was easy.
because
It's the Amsterdam bit that was more hard, and of course Tom is the expert there, and he got on the case one evening,
right. Yes.
and it was so late at night that we stopped at 1680 or something. It's enough for everybody.
Yeah. But
is it enough
for
for you?
example,
Probably.
Yeah, for example, I did a process of a family that flew to Amsterdam and then London, and actually I had a path like more generations. I had some kind of 12 generations, but with 7 or 8, I don't remember exactly. I could get to the first person with a hot name, as I used to call it, to be more clear, that were indicating the person as P Israeli, so Portuguese Israeli. And so, of course, we don't have to go any longer unless the person really wants to. But of course, we want to save time, and if the purpose is to get the Portuguese nationality in the context that we are just now, of course we want to use time in a better way.
Bernard Miller has his hand up. Bernard.
Hi, I'm doing this on the phone, so I don't know. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just wanted to share, I'm getting almost the opposite situation with SIL, in that, as it says at the top of their application, provide as many generations as you can. So I provided, and this would be a couple of years before the law change, back to my 15th great-grandparents on one line. Nobody has ever challenged any of the people or the connections. What they have done is to write and ask for specific documents, and each time, sometimes with the help of Ton, I've managed to find a missing document. I'm lucky enough to have had a family who came to Britain from the Netherlands or Belgium or Germany. Everything is well documented, but they change the questions that they ask for. So twice they've asked me to change the format of my mother's name, which I've done. And in September last year, they wrote and said, would I submit a new family tree only going back to the 5th generation as opposed to the 15th? And would I make the ancestor that I was choosing my 5th great-grandmother rather than my 5th great-grandfather? I, of course, had documented my 5th great-grandfather's family better, but I did that all in September. Since then, I've heard nothing. And this morning, a 15th cousin in Brazil posted a message on Sephardic Certificados saying that he had had the same request. They've suddenly asked him to provide a new tree where he has fewer generations than he had originally provided. It doesn't make any sense genealogically, historically, or in terms of documentation.
No, but probably the fact is maybe, of course, the more the more far generations become more hard to understand and to clearly establish connection between generations, and maybe they are in they are asking that to be assured that that study, that genealogical study, and that tree will not raise questions to nobody. Understand?
Yeah.
And so, of course, when they say also when they say that they bring as much generations you can get, this was meaning bring not to have a limit, because in the first years people were always asking how many generations should I present, and of course each case is unique and it's singular, and so of course in my perspective nowadays that I am also doing a bit of research, it's enough to go to an ancestor that you can clearly prove to be of Sephardic descendants.
Okay.
Understand that you gather a surname, you gather a place, you gather a political historical context that they can easily understand that, okay, this is part of the Sephardic diaspora.
Okay. And
Thank you.
yes, can you unmute?
Yeah, sorry, Anna. Just very quickly, I've had exactly the same problems as, not myself, but my brother and my children have had exactly the same problems as Bernard. I can prove incontrovertibly that my family on both my mother's side and my father's side, their second cousins, are Sephardic. Their ancestry is all documented in Bevis marks. There may be the odd circumcision record that is missing. I got my process through, and I've got a process number. None of my children or my brother have. I'm afraid I think the SIL process seems to be in some disarray, because both my children and my brother keep getting asked for different information. I've submitted all the documents from the Bevis Marks registers, for instance, including the covers of the Bevis Marks registers, and I do not believe that the people analysing the applications understand what these are. That this is, incontrovertible evidence. It may not be the actual circumcision in the rabbi's handwriting, but it's been transcribed into written form. So I think there is a bit of chaos around at SIL, and it's very hard to know how to get round this. And I suspect that we will be using Martins Castro to pursue this.
Okay. Someone called Leyland has his or her hand.
Hello, thank you, Ton. It's Lola Langner. My cousins and I are clients of Martins Castro, and we submitted our paperwork through Martins Castro last June and July. It was June and July 22. And my hope is that we'll get approved, although it sounds very topsy-turvy. But if we do get approved, we wanted to understand, that is, if my cousin and I get approved, what will our husbands need to do who don't have the Sephardic ancestry? They would be going, vis-a-vis, going on our coattails. Do they have to be proving a connection and visiting Portugal, which is a long distance, at least for us? or taking classes in Portuguese or what? That's my question.
So good night, Leland. If you got your, and I think you will have your Portuguese citizenship, you can transmit your nationality to your spouses. And they are case when the spouses don't have to prove any kind of bond with us. It depends on the how many years your marriage lasts. If you have a marriage that lasts at least 6 years, your husband will not have to prove anything.
Great. I think we're going on 40.
Okay, so it's not, as I said, the Portuguese law, Portuguese nationality law was amended, but as far as it's concerned, the Portuguese nationality for minors and spouses, nothing's changed. Okay. So the most important is once you have your Portuguese nationality, we will help you to transcribe your marriage, and after that, we are going to ask for Portuguese nationality for your husband. And don't worry about anything because we know how to do those things. For spouses, it's easier. And if you have minor children, don't forget that if you want to submit their application to Portuguese nationality, it's very important if both parents ask for Portuguese nationality. For example, if you have someone who got the Portuguese nationality because he proved that he is the descendant of Sephardic Jew, it's most important that the mother who is married with the father asks for Portuguese nationality by marriage, and the minor children ask for that too, because it's very important for the minors, so we don't have to send any kind of proof that both parents are Portuguese, or unless that one is Portuguese and the other one is applying too. Okay.
Wonderful. And the final question, I think before you joined the law firm, there was another lawyer who had done a presentation from Martins Castro. And at one point, he told me and my cousin that until our marriages are registered in Portugal, we would be considered single.
Yes, because once you have your Portuguese nationality, in Portugal, it's mandatory. Once you have your Portuguese nationality, it's mandatory after that to transcript all the act of your marital status. It's mandatory because when you are asking for Portuguese nationality, the name that will be in your Portuguese birth certificate will be the one you had when you were single, because the law said that after that you must have your marital status transcribed in Portugal, because in the process of Portuguese nationality doesn't include to be your marital status updated. You must do that after that. So it's mandatory, as we are speaking, it's mandatory to ask for Portuguese nationality, and after that, you must make everything to update your marital status. And in Martins Castro, you can do that with us.
That's wonderful. All right, really final question that we did our paperwork in June and July of 22. Is there any timetable when we might start hearing things, or are we better not to even think about it?
So if you applied in June 2022, Porto is very we have also two registry office that are working with those applications. We have the registry office of Lisbon and we have the registry office of Porto. The registry office of Porto is going faster than the Lisbon one. But right now, we know that Portuguese nationality is taking almost 2 years to get it, because the application to Portuguese nationality increased 140%. Okay, so 140%. And of course, the state doesn't increase the number of the persons who are working for the state. So there's a lot of things to do and don't enough person to do that. So I think it will be almost 2 years in June. So I could say maybe at the end of the year.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. You guys are doing a great job. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Boskahan, can you unmute?
Yes, thank you. It's wonderful to hear from the horse's mouth of a lawyer, as a lawyer myself. So it's refreshing. And thanks for giving clear answers. My question is there a process in Portugal where you can make what we would call in the States a freedom of information law request, where you can ask the government for the proofs of Sephardic ancestry that were accepted and or rejected, so that you can then build a database of decisions based on those proofs and not have to do the kind of tail chasing that some on the call have talked about, where you're submitting genealogical records and some are accepted, some are not. Where is it possible to bring a court action that forces the various authorities to give you the data, the raw data, the proofs, and the decisions based on that? Because all of the records deal with people who are deceased, or much of them, other than the most recent grandparents and perhaps great-grandparents, deal with people who are deceased.
So right now, the Jewish community of Oporto and of Lisbon, they are the ones who have the documents in their archives of all the decision they took, okay? So with the new amendment, we will have a commission. I don't know if that commission will bring us some kind of, I don't know, an archive or like a library where you will have easily to prove, okay, I'm descendant and I have a cousin, I have a brother, and maybe it will be easier to prove your descendant, because right now we don't have that, because the government, when they approved that law to make that reparation of what happened in the past, they gave the power to the Jewish community to do that, and they said that they can have those proofs. After that amendment to the Portuguese Nationality Law will be enforced, they are saying that the registrar office can have a connection by a support of data, and they can go to take some information. And also we are going to have a commission, and that commission maybe will make that based data, because right now it's true, it's not existing, that doesn't exist. That's why people, even when they are cousin brothers, have some kinds of problem. First, because as Teresa said, they are not analyzing regarding if they have relatives. They are only analyzing by the chronological date of where you submitted your application for the certificate. But what I can say is that what is possible and what we are doing is to apply to the court. So when you have someone or some relatives that were certified and now you are having problems, that we are doing that in Martins Castro, because there are certain principles in our constitution that they are violating them, but we must remember that the Portuguese law system is not the same in England. Okay, we are not a common law system country. Okay, so there are things that you can do in England or in other countries that are supported by a common law that we are not doing. So we must do the things by the way of our legal system.
we are overextending our time. I see 3 people with their hands up, and I'll let them ask questions, and then we have to close up shop. First, Sarina Hoffe. Can you unmute?
Yes, hi. I have several clients that have applications in the Central CIL Conservatory, and they're still from 2021. So it's been more than 3 years that their applications are in, and they're still at stage 1. I know that typically we say 2 years, but from 2021, they're still at stage 1.
So, as I said, Lisbon, the Registrar Office of Lisbon, is not working so faster than Porto. They are still analyzing all this, the application of February 2021. That's the truth. And what some clients came to us and asked for help because they are waiting more than 3 years, some of them. And what we are doing is to ask to the court, so the Conservatória can make things in the right time, because what the Portuguese regulation says is that by law, the Portuguese application for Portuguese nationality only can take at least at the most 1 year to be decided. Of course, the registrar office said, oh, but we have a huge increasement of application and we don't have enough persons to do that. But by the law, they are violating those times to take decisions. And there are things that says that more than 2 or 3 years, it's too much. And right now, I have several lawsuits against the Portuguese government, and we won a lot of them. And I have even have a client that I made a lawsuit to say, of course, it's enough. My client is waiting for more than 3 years, and I won. And they had to make his Portuguese birth certificate in 30 days.
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you. Steve Lopez.
Of course,
Thank you, Tom.
of course, I'm saying that that's a service of our office. Of course, it's a lawsuit, and of course, the client must pay the fees.
Steve?
But it's possible.
Thank you, Tone. Hi, Isabel. I have a question, maybe a clarification about the process. I started my process in 2021 and have been asked 3 times now for additional information by the Lisbon group. I'm just seeing posts on Facebook and Porto. I've been curious whether it's recommended to switch and submit all my paperwork to the Porto location instead. Maybe that's one question. The other one is I did engage with a law firm in Portugal. They submitted my application before a critical deadline, I think in 2022 or 2023. I'm guessing that in a way it's benefiting me that things are moving slowly because I don't have my certificate yet.
No.
Am I at risk if my application comes up for review before I get the certificate, and then they just kind of throw it away because it's missing that one important document? And secondly, I wish I'd known about your firm, because you seem, just looking at your website, you seem to be much more knowledgeable and informed than this other firm I engaged with.
So about your certificate, as I said, it's possible to apply for Portuguese nationality without it. The only thing you must do is to send your genealogical study and the proof that you are a descendant from Sephardic Jew. The law says it, so there's no problem. If the Conservatória will analyze your application for Portuguese nationality without the certificate, you will not have any kind of problem because you submitted your application rightly. So I think, because I didn't submit it, you did it with another firm. Regarding your certificate, I don't know if it is if it is a good things for you, the good thing for you to change from SIL to go to Porto, because it's like Teresa said, I don't know what is the right way for you. If you are, it's right for you to go to SIL or to SIP. We should, you should maybe contact us so Teresa could see if it is possible to submit your certificate in SIP, because all things about genealogical problems, of course, I'm a lawyer, it's more up to Teresa. It's just a question to contact us and we can see that. And okay.
Yep. Sorry, may I interrupt there? Because with SIP, they will only deal with people who are halakhically Jewish, or their father is halakhically Jewish, which of course, as we said before, is contrary to the Portuguese constitution. But it just seems very strange that Steve, who belongs to the Lopez of Newport, so one of the most famous Sephardic family, Portuguese Sephardic families that ever there was, should have troubles, whereas maybe sort of the Goldbergs of Warsaw just get waved through at SIP.
I don't know.
Okay. Let's go to Kate and Shiloh.
Okay, thanks again. I just want to make sure I'm following the through line here. Essentially, it sounds like there's a nationality law and the two bodies that kind of make the determination of whether or not you fit Sephardic Portuguese genealogy. The requirement is SIL and SIP, Porto and Lisbon. So it sounds like the government, the Portuguese government, has outsourced the determining factor to SIL and SIP versus the government itself being involved. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if I have my Sephardic certificate from my New York Sephardic group, or would I submit that to Porto, or do they not care?
If you contact our office, we will see your genealogical situation, and we will advise you to go to SIL or to go to SIP. It depends on the proofs you have and other situation, as David said.
Can I add one more thing? David, I wonder if the reason why SIP is doing the halakhically Jewish thing is because they're going with the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law, and they just want more Jews in Portugal.
Well, obviously, I can't know what's in SIP's heads. They're obviously, I think, predominantly a German community. So what they know about Portuguese Sephardim is, I don't know. It seems to me that if the law, as I understand it, I'm not a lawyer, but my understanding is Portuguese law determines that everyone should be treated equally, irrespective of religion. And if SIP are introducing, first of all, this religious qualification, and then secondly, apparently not reviewing the genealogy in any what I would regard as appropriate way. I mean, for all the criticisms that have been made of SIL, it does seem to me that they are, operating, in a way that is recognizable to people who care about genealogy. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, is a reasonable
Exactly,
as to why the Portuguese state should outsource their nationality processes to religious institutions, because it seems to be a core function of the state. But that's yet another question. But obviously, I have a bee in my bonnet.
Maybe with the new amendments to the Portuguese law nationality and with that commission, maybe things are going to be differently, because I don't know if that commission will be accept that we are going to put some kind of religious things in it. Why? Because the law doesn't say that you can apply for Portuguese nationality because you are Jew. The law says that you can apply to Portuguese nationality if you prove that you are descendant from Sephardic Jew. Today you can be wherever you want, okay? They are not saying it's for Jews. They are saying it's for descendant from Sephardic Jew. So that kind of little thing religious, maybe with that commission, maybe that will end that interpretation. I think, I will hope.
Michael Black.
Well, let me just add this. As the law is giving the historical moment of Inquisition, for me, of course, I understand it is consensual that we would have to consider those who have also suffered their Jewish identity loss. So I understand what David say, and I'm really in the same position, and I fought along with all these years of work about it, even before understanding that we are in a democratic country and we cannot discriminate people under religious different beliefs. But of course, if the law is remitting to the Inquisition, so we should consider all who suffered from it, right?
Okay. Michael Black.
Hi, Isabel, and it's thanks very much for all your information this evening. I have a question that relates to a member of my family who, in fact, was Teresa handled our family's case several years ago, and she heard almost a year ago, or maybe more than a year ago, that she was successful. So she had the letter from the IRN, the Ministry of Justice, saying that she was successful, and then we heard nothing. And this is now a year, and we've written once before saying, don't we need to have information about what to do next? In other words, contacting the consulate. But they just keep saying, you will hear shortly, but that's like another year to add to all the many years that this has taken. So I just wondered what we could do.
So as I understood, that person already got her Portuguese nationality. But as you know, in Portugal, once you have your Portuguese nationality, it's mandatory to do a Portuguese birth certificate. And that is something that is going, it's delayed to almost 9 months to 1 year. Why? Because there's so many applications. Of course, there are a lot of applications that were decided positively. So the person already knows that she or he got the Portuguese nationality. But to do that birth certificate, things are made by chronological way too. They are doing the Portuguese birth certificate by the date that were your application were decided. So right now it's taking 9 months to 1 year, and that's something I'm doing also in court, because I have several ways. I have persons who are waiting still in phase 1 since 3 years. I have persons that have the application already decided, and they need the birth certificate first because they want to prove that they are Portuguese, because only with the birth certificate you can have your Portuguese citizen card, and after that passport. And even because I have a lot of persons who have minor children, and some of them are between 15, 16, and they need their birth certificate to apply for Portuguese nationality for those minor children, even if I can do things without it, but that's another thing. That's a knowledge that we have in Martins Castro. Of course, I'm not going to say that here because that's our knowledge, but I'm doing that also because those birth certificates are taking so long. And because it's more important first because the person got the Portuguese nationality and the birth certificate is mandatory to prove that, and it's mandatory to have the Portuguese citizen card. So yes, it's true, it's taking along also. And so what you can do, contact us because we can ask them what is going on, and I will see what we can do to speed it up because you can't wait. It's even, I think in my view, it's even more severe because you already know that you are a Portuguese citizen and you can't prove it. You can't have your citizen card, you can't have your passport. So it's something very important. It's, for me, it's even more important because when you do something, you've done that, you must end it right now.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
away.
Yeah.
So,
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks very much. So it's a pleasure meeting you, and it's great to see you again, Teresa. And thanks very much again.
Yeah. Okay, David, do we need to go through chat?
Just quickly, Carrie, before you typed a question, do you want to ask or has that been answered? I'm sorry, I've had some problems with the chat and whatever. Yeah.
Are you asking me?
Yeah, yes. I'm sorry, you typed something before, but I couldn't get back to you.
Oh, okay. Well, I had several questions. I mean, I don't want to take up the whole, even any time with them, but can you prove Portuguese Sephardic heritage with DNA? Can you prove it with Inquisition records? That was one of them. And does it have to be Portuguese Sephardic or can it be Spanish Sephardic? I have both. And I have had relatives, DNA relatives who are Mexican and are no longer religiously Jewish, who got Spanish citizenship because they were able to prove their lines. So I don't know. As far as the Portuguese law is concerned, it can be any Sephardic heritage. It can be Spanish and not necessarily Portuguese. Spanish Jews who went to Portugal or Spanish Jews who went elsewhere. That's my basic first question. I have both, as I said.
Okay.
Did you?
So Teresa, maybe you can answer.
I can. I still have time because I'm already in the queue to do onboarding. First, DNA is not allowed because well, it's not allowed even in the text of the law. It's not considered. So I don't know if Porto is accepting. I guess the Jewish community of Porto was accepting, I guess. I think I've heard about it, but Lisbon is not accepting DNA proofs because they are not sufficiently detailed, and sometimes 2% of Sephardic origins, they don't really mean much, and historians normally don't have genetic education, so genetics education. So in CIL, they continue not accepting DNA proofs. And about the second question, yes, Sephardic, Portuguese or Spanish, okay? Because we know, and it was the first conversations that we had with the state at the time, at the beginning of the law. It was really about it because in the diaspora, of course, there were communities that established and stated to be Portuguese origin, and others that were of Spanish origin, but there were a lot of others that were Spanish and Portuguese. And so in that time, in the diaspora, Sephardic is the main identity concept, if I am being clear with this, because people lost exactly sometimes the idea of being from Portugal or Spanish. They became Sephardic, like, because of course they also had mixed a lot and married among each other. So I guess I'm having a good answer. Hopefully, David, what do you think?
I mean, on DNA, I'm no expert. I don't think there is a Western Sephardic DNA signature. My white DNA is bog standard Portuguese, so you know I don't know how that would help.
And the question of Inquisition records.
Yes, but there's something to say about this DNA too. In Portugal, proof of DNA are only accepted in court, and we are talking about an application to Portuguese citizenship. And when we are talking about citizenship, we are talking about proof, documental proofs, not DNA. DNA is just to go to court to prove that, for example, you are the father of someone, but not for application that allows only paper documentation as proof. So DNA is only to solve questions in court, not in the Conservatória, not in the registry office.
Makes sense. But
so in CIL, sorry, in CIL, or you can establish all the generations, all the connections until a person that was convicted in the Inquisition, by the Inquisition, or if you have a smaller genealogical studies, this means with less generations, they at least need to understand the connection with a Jewish community or a synagogue founded by Sephardic Jews, understand? And to understand that, okay, this family was matches these specific migration routes, and we know that they were established in Smyrna or Amsterdam or London or Morocco, or several places. Like I always keep repeating this. It's always when you have that, when you are that far, that distant to your Jewish ancestor, you should be able to show a hot surname, a hot place, and a hot city. Understand that we can easily, okay, this matches with the knowledge that we have of the larger universe of Sephardic diaspora. Understand?
So a rabbi's letter, Teresa, like a rabbi's letter saying you're Sephardic?
I personally don't think that's enough, because if a person needs to, okay, if the rabbi states that the person is Jewish, he must of course justify why. It's not, we understand that the rabbi is a respectful person in the community, but still we need to have proof, and to get proof and to construct a document that is able to prove something and to demonstrate. It's not enough to just say the person is Jewish or the person is of Sephardic origins. Understand? So the rabbi would need to justify, and they are not doing it most of the time. So that's a problem.
And the time
And sometimes they are saying, sometimes they are saying, yeah, this person is of Jewish background, according to the documents that I have seen in the synagogue. And that's it. And of course, this is not sufficient. This is not enough to prove. Understand?
And it doesn't matter how far back you make the connection, as long as you make the connection. In other words,
yeah.
if you had Sephardic ancestry back to the 1600s or 1500s, and you can prove that connection, it's not current. I mean, that was your connection to your great, 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 great grandparents. That's enough.
Mm-hmm. Yes, with providing documents that establish all the generations until one new Christian or a Jew, they can have. We get a lot of. There are a lot of Brazilian citizens with Portuguese surnames that many of them can do this proof, because it's of course it's not an easy job to do this research, but we can get a lot of documents from the Inquisition. It's kind of the positive side of all the documental production manuscripts that we still have from the Inquisition. Sorry, I need to onboarding now. Okay.
Have a safe flight.
Have a safe flight.
Thank you.
Bye, Teresa.
Thank
you. Thank you for the opportunity. I'll enjoy very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Nice flight, Teresa.
David.
So I'm afraid there's a lot of comments and questions on YouTube, but we obviously are focusing on the patrons. But the prize to the longest wait goes to Beth, who submitted her application 5 years ago and is still waiting.
5 years where? In the registry office?
She doesn't say where, but yeah, my heart goes out to her for that.
If she needs to contact us, please. I also saw questions about what are the requirements they are going to demand on the transitory article. So as I said, it will be those they are asking for already. So they are talking about traveling to Portugal or having some kind of real estate, and they are giving one more option, is that you can prove that you are residing here in Portugal at least 1 year. But as I said, I understand that you can, in my understanding, you can prove your Portuguese connection with the Portuguese community with other things, in other ways, because it's a question of equality too, because we have in the Portuguese Nationality Law other cases of other ways to get the Portuguese nationality that they say they are asking for Portuguese proofs of connection with the Portuguese community, and they allow to prove that with other things, because proving with traveling or real estates, it's discrimination, because not everybody had the financial condition to do that. And now they just they are giving just one more option to prove that you are residing here 1 year. Of course, there's few people can prove that. So in Martins Castro, we understand that you can prove other ways, and as long as the transitory rule will be enforced, we will always have the 24A of the regulation. That will be the article that is going to regulation that way to have the Portuguese nationality. And we know that that article is still having constitutional problems. So until the law of the 3 years get enforced, it's still possible to apply. it's still possible to prove with other things, with other proofs that you have connection with us. In Martins Castro, we will help you to do that. And it will be still possible to go to court and to say no more 24A because it's unconstitutional. And right now we have one case, but the day we will have 3 cases saying, okay, by the court that article is unconstitutional, the Constitutional Court will be mandatory. They will have to say that article is no longer to apply to. So as I said at first, I think we have almost between 6 months, 1 year, maybe more, I don't know, because the last time they amended the law, they took 2 years to make an amendment to the regulation. So my advice is to apply now.
Thank you. Can we try to make a summary of what you have said, and then we can send out to our patrons perhaps next week or the week after? Perhaps if I can send you a draft for you to correct and review, is that okay?
So you would like me to do a resume here right now, or to send
No. I mean something written we can send out.
Okay. Send me just a draft, and I will answer the question, and I will send you so everybody can have the opportunity to say and their doubts answered.
And so one last question from me. You mentioned this new commission. Is this a commission of the National Assembly, or
it will be a commission with the government will going to do that commission, and it will have several persons like professors of universities specialized in genealogy, in history, and of course they will have 2 representatives of the Jewish community. And I think because it will be a commission created by the government, that issue about the religion, about SIP will end, and maybe some kinds of questions that SIL is doing are going to end too. So maybe it's a good thing for us, for those who have problems right now to prove their ancestry, because I believe also that the Jewish communities are doing things that are too severe, and I even don't know, it's not legal. That's why we decided to go to court when we have, for example, some cousins or a brother that is already certified, and right now they are asking for more things. I think right now the 2 difficult things, it's SIP is asking for some kind of a religious connection, and SIL is asking for things that are already proved in other requirements. So I think that commission will be something good.
Yes. Can David apply to become a member of that commission? He is Portuguese.
I don't know. I don't know how they are going to make that. I don't know how they are going to choose the persons who are going to be part of that commission. But of course, they are saying that they are going to invite some important persons in the area of history,
Yes, but
studies.
I mean, he is one of the last surviving Sephardim of England.
If
He is an expert.
somebody has already
is...
the Portuguese nationality, please go write to the government and apply for it.
Okay.
I'd like to say, I mean, a lot of us have been quite critical of SIL, but I think with justification. But I think we also need to acknowledge that they have been operating essentially in compliance with genealogical proof standard, which is the ethical and correct way to behave, even if we believe there have been shortcomings, and we can't necessarily say that for every other institution that is involved in processing. But thank you very much. I think this is our longest ever meeting, and very well attended, both here and online. We shall be in touch with you very soon. Do we have we'll be back in 2 weeks. I'm afraid I can't remember who the speaker is.
We will have Jared Wall speaking on the
Oh yes.
So it will
genetics.
be another interesting meeting. Thank you to all our patrons who are here, who support us, who make this all possible. Thank you to our viewers on Zoom who are there in droves. And above all, thank you, Isabel and Teresa, for bringing clarification to a lot of points of discussion, and for your work in the future. It was a pleasure listening to you. And
Thank you. Thank you.
maybe we will need you to come back another time when the law changes again.
I will be available for that.
Thank
Just
you.
notice me and I will be here.
Thank you very much. Okay, good night, everybody.
Thank you all.
Bye, David.
See you.
Bye.